talk of superhero fatigue continues to make all the headlines. But is the genre, and Marvel Studios specifically, really in a ton of trouble? Or is there more to this news? Well, now we've got an update from the experts in finance, and it appears the rumors of their death might have come too soon. Let's dive in. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you're really in the know. Well, I stumbled across this story from Forbes magazine, and it does really put what's going on over at Marvel Studios in perspective. You may have noticed a somewhat piling on effect in the last couple of months, especially after the release of the Marvels, with many different media outlets kind of doing hit pieces on the studio, and it sort of felt like they're basically kicking them when they're down because it hasn't really been the best of years. Now, there's a ton of people that will have you believe that superhero fatigue is now in full effect, and there's many people pushing this narrative that really do hope to push the comic book movie genre out of existence. So, does Marvel and DC really run the risk of becoming another lost media genre and go the way of the Westerns? Now, 2023 has been a rough year for the superhero genre. The DC films all year have done really bad, and Marvel Studios has also struggled critically and commercially with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and the Marvels definitely missing their mark, and the Marvels being an out-and-out flop. Now, to be fair, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did very well. But does all this bad news mean the end of the genre? Well, Forbes doesn't think so. Now, in the recent article, they kind of correlate a lot of the data and bring it all in one place so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on, considering how many movies Marvel has released. Thanks to the record-breaking returns made by Infinity War and Endgame, the 22 movies in the Infinity Saga have around a $935 million average at the box office worldwide. Now, prior to the Marvels, this doesn't include this movie, the 10 movies released in the Multiverse Saga have grossed a combined $8.1 million. And that's a 10-film run averaging $815 million per film. Now, compared to the $935 in the Infinity Saga, that's not much of a drop. And considering the pandemic and all that's gone on in the last couple of years, not to mention they've never released an Avengers movie to prop up those numbers, well, that's definitely not the decline people are talking about. Now, that's not to say there hasn't been some wane in interest, and honestly, there's been so much content coming out towards fans, I think it's definitely impacted the excitement level, but there's nothing overall to suggest that the franchise is in major trouble or we're even reaching the end of the era of superhero movies. As Forbes explains, even the pandemic MCU movies, which still underperformed, grossed more than Shazam! Fury of the Gods and The Flash in 2023. And Guardians of the Galaxy is the 4th highest grossing movie of the year, and even Ant-Man and the Wasp jumped into the top 10. So the movie didn't return what people wanted, but it definitely made some money. We also have Sony's Across the Spider-Verse that made it into that list, so this overall talk of superhero fatigue seems pretty premature to me. Now, this is not to say Marvel doesn't need to make some changes, and the Multiverse Saga has definitely been hit or miss with fans. This doesn't mean every film is going to hit that 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's completely unrealistic, and very few films will ever do the box office numbers of those last 2 Avengers movies. But it feels like to me, and to Forbes magazine as a matter of fact, that the bar has been set so high before the pandemic that the changes that came out of the pandemic, as well as the changing landscape of the industry, is simply not being taken into effect, and basically we're comparing apples and oranges when we talk about the returns. Now, Marvel has one film coming out next year, Deadpool 3, and I do suspect this is going to be a big hit, and could definitely revitalize the appetite for Marvel Studios content. Limited availability along with a really good movie keeps people talking, and since there's not very many Disney Plus shows headed our way next year, I think Deadpool and what falls out of Deadpool is going to be the topic of conversation, driving the next phase of the Marvel Universe into 2025, where Marvel absolutely has a full slate, and they're even refining most of those projects to ensure they not only meet fan expectations, but exceed them. I think this is pretty good news for all of us. We want superhero movies to make money. This is what will keep them around, and I really do hope that people that make them are paying attention to what fans want and push their quality requirements up substantially to basically ensure these movies do well. How this works out for Marvel, we are gonna have to wait and see.